If you want to start chess but has no idea how to play, you have come to the right video. This video will be separated into 8 different sections, where each section I will explain briefly what are the fundamentals to prepare you into playing chess. Chess is a turn-based board game. It has two sides, simply called as black and white. Players take turn to make one move. White always move first, then black, then white, then black, so on and so forth. There are 5 different types of pieces. King. King's starting position is in the middle of the board, but they are on the opposite color. King can only move one square at a time, in any direction. There is only one king throughout the entire game. Queen's starting position is in the middle of the board, and she is beside the king. Queen can move multiple squares at a time, in any direction, but Queen cannot jump over any piece blockade. There is only one queen at the start of the game. Rooks are at the corner of the board. Rooks can go up, down, left, right, but not the diagonal directions. The rooks can move multiple squares at a time, but the same as queen, it cannot jump over any piece blockade. There are 2 rooks at the start of the game. Bishops are besides king and queen at the start of the game. Bishop can move diagonally, but not horizontally or vertically. It can move multiple squares at a time, but it cannot jump over any piece blockade. There are 2 bishops at the start of the game. Knight is in between bishop and rook at the start of the game. Knight jump in L shape, and best still, knight can jump over any pieces. There are 2 knights at the start of the game. Pawns. They are not pieces. Pawns are at the front of each piece at the start of the game, and they are like Death Army. They can only march forward but not backwards. They usually can move one square to the front at one time, but only at their starting position they can choose to move 2 squares in front. Their goal is to reach the end of the opponent's rank. Once they reach the last rank, they can be promoted to pieces, and of course except being promoted to king, because there can only be one king at the entire game. Pawns trade or capture by moving diagonally one square, and there are 8 pawns at the start of the game. You can take away opponent's piece if your piece can move to a particular square that the opponent's piece is currently occupying at your turn. That is called a trade or a capture. We need to understand the value of each piece and pawn to know how to trade effectively. King. The value is infinite. If your king is about to be captured next turn and your king has no square to move, it's a win for the opponent. Queen. It is worth 9 points. Rook. It is worth 5 points. Bishop. It is worth 3 points. Knight. It is worth 3 points. Pawn. It is worth 1 point. Let's go through a few terms in chess. Check. We know that king has infinite value. This is because if your king is being captured, you lose the game. During a check, you cannot make other random move. Instead, you have to respond to the check. During a check, your king can still get out safely. There are 3 ways to prevent check. 1. Move your king to safe square. 2. Block the check. 3. Capture the pieces that give you the check. Second term, illegal move. You cannot make a move that allow your king to be captured next turn. For example, in this case, your king cannot move to where your opponent's queen is controlling the square. Second example, your pawn cannot move because the bishop can take the king next turn. Third example, you cannot take your own pieces or pawns. Third term, checkmate. Checkmate is when your king is about to be taken by your opponent's pieces or pawn next turn, and your king has nowhere to run. Fourth term, development. Development is to move your pieces away from the original starting square to better attack your opponent. Fifth term, castle. Now that you know what is check and checkmate, you must know that king's safety is the most important matter in chess. If your king and either of your rook have not moved before, you can castle by moving your king 2 squares towards one of your rooks and swap place with your rook. King in the center of the board is very dangerous. The chessboard has 8 rows and 8 columns. Rows are called ranks and columns are called files. Each rank is numbered from 1 to 8, and each file is given A to H alphabets. Each square on the board can be represented by an alphabet and a number. For example, this square is called E4. There are 2 ways to win against your opponent. First, checkmate your opponent. Second, your opponent runs out of time. Hey guys, thanks for watching this guide. Don't be afraid of playing just because you will lose the game. Maybe you don't know how to checkmate. Maybe you lose a piece for nothing. Those are totally fine. You need to understand the fundamental. I want you guys to go register a free account on either Lichess or chess.com and start playing. While playing, remember to click on each piece and pawn to see what are the available moves before we make a move. And don't even care about the time running out just yet. I want you guys to play around 5 to 10 starter game. And from this game, I want you guys to see what your opponent does. For example, what is their usual first move? How do they develop their knight, their bishop, their queen, their rook? How can they castle so quickly? Then follow those moves in your next few games. You will learn much better in this way. That's all for today. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel and my Twitch channel. Do leave a comment if you have any question. Bye for now.